and welcome back to our 5 Things with Father Edward. We've had a couple weeks off.
2 weeks off.
2 weeks off, unfortunately, for illness, but we are back and ready to go. So, Father, welcome back.
Well, thank you. Yes, recovering. Still got a little cough and a little phlegm, but it's all, they say it's like a 5-week healing process from this respiratory virus.
Yes, and there's certainly enough going around, and with you in the schools, usually the
Yes.
first couple months of getting back to school come with some ailments.
Yes, that's right. Lots of sniffles from the kids.
Yes. All right. So today what we're going to do for our 5 things is Father has brought in 5 of his books that will be available this weekend. We're holding our Cathedral Book and Gift fundraiser. So Father is going to share some of his books that will be available for purchase. And he is also going to be doing some book signing this weekend too.
I guess so.
Yes. All right, Father. So what do you have for us first?
Sure. So I actually brought 6. I don't know if the one book will actually be there, so maybe that's like the bonus.
Sure.
But I have several books. I think like they tell me I have 10 in total. I didn't bring all of them, obviously, because this is 5 things. A few of the other ones are kind of the less popular ones that I left behind. So, but yeah, I brought some of my more popular ones. So the very first one, this is kind of like the first devotional that I wrote. It was released back, I think, in 2017, and it's called A Heart Like Mary's. And this book was really inspired by a little experience with a spiritual director of mine when I was in the seminary. One day I was like complaining a lot and whatever. I was in his office with a few other people, and he just said to me, you know, Edward, you love the Blessed Mother so much, but where is your Marian heart? And I kind of took that question to heart. And I began thinking about what it meant to have a Marian heart. And I started praying for a heart like Mary's. That's really where the title came from. And so I prayed for that. And this is really my own reflection on the heart of Mary. It's a little bit biblical, focusing on different scripture passages that relate to the Blessed Virgin Mary, but then also looking at some of her apparitions and kind of the desires of Mary's heart for all of us. So this is one of my most popular. It's a bestseller in terms of how much it's sold for the publisher. So it's amazing to me that the book was written in 2017, and I'm amazed by how many copies still are sold. So very popular book, A Heart Like Mary's. So the second one is actually, I think this is my most recent book outside of children's books that I had brought back into print or wrote. So this is my most recent. It's called How They Love Mary, 28 Life-Changing Stories of Devotion to Our Lady. So this book was actually a book I wanted to write for years, and it's kind of just very interesting how these things happen, that you have the idea, you pitch it. So I pitched it to the publisher that published it. I asked them 3 times if they would publish it, and every time they said no. And so then I went to a different publisher, and they're like, well, that's not really what we would like you to do. This is what we would like you to do. If you would do this, then we'll publish it. And I said, it's really not my vision. That's not the book I want to write. And so How They Love Mary, though, came to be. I started a podcast. So, I had this idea for this book since 2016, 2017. And I was doing a radio show. I was a co-host for EWTN, and I left the show and wanted to start podcasting as a response to leaving and still doing something like that. So I called it How They Love Mary because I'm like, that's the book I want to write. Maybe if I build up an audience based on a podcast, then it'll be an audience to sell the book to, and a publisher would say yes to it. So eventually, the publisher that published it, the 4th time was a charm. They said yes. So this book it's kind of, I call it autobiographical, in that I share about individuals like holy men and women who have come across me in my life. So different saints. So the first one I start with is actually my birthday saint, Saint Damien of Molokai. And I start with him just kind of, that's the day I was born. I thought, well, does he have a devotion to Mary? What's that look like? I've always been fond of St. Damien and Molokai, but I go through different spiritual writers I've encountered throughout my life, and I write about them and their devotion to Mary. So it's 28 profiles. I wanted 30, but two of the people, the publisher canceled. They're like, maybe you shouldn't write about those two people. And I said, well, that's your opinion. So so the two people were Thomas Merton and Father Rene Laurentin. So neither of them all that controversial. Thomas Merton more so at the end of his life. I don't know what the issue with Father Rene Laurentin was. I struggled with that one. So anyways, that's why there's 28 and not 30. So a little behind the scenes. We'll do the bonus one with that one. So we'll turn to the children's book. So there's 3 of them here. A lot of people will remember that I did a book called Breakfast in Bethlehem. And why don't I open this up? Because what happened was when Breakfast in Bethlehem went out of print. And so essentially I wanted to bring it back. And I thought, well, I didn't know if I had enough pages for a book without another story. So I decided to do Father Looney's Christmas stories. And Breakfast in Bethlehem then is one of the stories. And then there's another story called Flowers from the Shepherd Boy. So both of them, Christmas stories. Flowers from the Shepherd Boy is more of maybe an epiphany story, we could say, of the 3 wise men. But that's Father Louis' Christmas stories written with children in mind.
My daughters actually, when you were here, I think still seminarian, perhaps, they still have your books and you would sign
Breakfast
them
in Bethlehem back then.
Breakfast at Bethlehem, yeah.
So then we have the story of Sister Adele. This is about the Marian apparition in Wisconsin. This was also formerly published. Basically what happened was the publisher went out of business, so the rights reverted back to me, and they were just out of print. I decided to self-publish them, bring it back into print, and people have been happy I did that. So the story of Sister Adele simply tells the story of Mary's apparition in Champion, Wisconsin, back in 1859. And then this is the 3rd children's book I have, which probably doesn't necessarily appeal to people in Shawano, but maybe you'd be interested. It's called Little Chapel's Grateful Hearts. So Little Chapel's Grateful Hearts is kind of the extension. I did a documentary on roadside chapels, and it was on television, on EWTN, and a few other faith-based networks. So I wanted to write the story for children as well. And so I basically identified 5 or 6 different chapels, told their stories, beautifully illustrated. Let me find, there's this one of this older gentleman, he's going to confession, so that's kind of a cute little image. But Little Chapels, Grateful Hearts, these little chapels that people have in their front yards or their backyards up in the Door County, Kewaunee County, Brown County area. And so this is the 6th one. This is kind of like the bonus, partly because I don't know if it'll be available through Cathedral Books this weekend. It's kind of out of season right now, if you will, but it's called A Lenten Journey with Mother Mary. So this book is probably my 2nd most popular book. A Heart Like Mary is number 1, this is number 2. It's been a companion for so many people during the Lenten season. It's interesting, maybe 2 little things about it. The first is that I actually had written the publisher and I said, you know what, I can't write this book, I'm done, they had given me an advance. Okay. And so I'm like, I'm going to write you a check and send you the money back. I said, I can't write it. And, but then a few days later when I took out my checkbook and wrote that number, and I'm like, I think I could finish the book. And so I did, but I guess I share that because I think sometimes we work on projects and maybe we kind of want to give up. And then it's amazing, like if you don't give up and you see the fruit of it that comes afterwards, you're like, I can't imagine if I would have given up and not published the book. So it came out right in 2020. I was doing the media circuit right as COVID was. So I was out in New York, I was in Alabama. And like a week later when I got back was when everything shut down because of COVID. But it was pretty crazy because people told me, they would write me and they would say, you wrote this book before COVID ever happened, but it's like you wrote it for us during COVID. So it was kind of a compliment. And 2024 is going to be the 4th year with the book, right? 2020, 2021, 2022. Oh, it'll be the 5th year with the book. So it's just amazing to see the reception and how many people do use it as a Lenten devotion. It actually goes through the different Marian apparitions, a number of them. And basically it's thematic. Each week has a theme. And I kind of work with Mary's apparitions and message and trying to live that message in accordance with the theme for each week. So maybe Cathedral Books and Gifts will have it here this weekend. A Lenten Journey with Mother Mary. You could maybe get it before Lent starts, and then you'll have it all ready and you can make your way through it. So anyways, these are some of the books I've written, and you could have the chance, I guess, to own them if you wish through the Cathedral Book and Gift Sale this weekend here at our parish.
Yes, so the Cathedral Book and Gift Sale, so I'm just gonna, so everybody knows, this Friday, November 17th is from 9 to 5. Father will be doing book signing at 10 o'clock on Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday will be for an hour before and after. So that would be the 4:30 Mass on Saturday, before and after. 7:30 the sale will be going on before and after, then 10:45. But Father will only be available after the 4:30 and the 10:45, not the 7:30, because he's got to
Go to
Cecil. Yes. So make sure you come and support that fundraiser as well. It's a great opportunity to pick up there's some really beautiful things that are coming in. Parishioner Helen Mestelier and I went to the cathedral and we picked out some really amazing things. Some of those amazing things are Father Edward's books. So make sure that you come and get those, and then, hey, get them signed while you're here. Father, if they are not available or if they're sold out when people come, where else can they get your books? Or
So I'll always have copies available myself here at the parish. Okay. So if they were to fly off the shelf, I should have some inventory to replenish for the sale this weekend.
Okay.
So that's obviously, it's easier to get them in person than it would be to get them somewhere else. So, not only will they have books are great. Authors love you buying their books. So, not just me, but I mean other people that I know that have written books. It's interesting, the process of getting a book published, and publishers work probably about a year out. So they already know what their catalog will be for the next year and whatnot. So, they offer these books so that we can be enriched. And so, but not only that, the Cathedral Book and Gift has lots of other things too. So they might bring some rosaries. They have like cute little stuffed animals or whatever that are faith-based and things like that. So it'll be a good time to find not only stuff for yourself, but maybe for others, to find gifts for individuals. So it'll be a wonderful opportunity. So it's interesting because like yesterday I recorded a podcast interview with an author of a book, and all of us who do podcasts and do interviews about things, usually the host will ask you like, oh, where can people get your book? And you're supposed to say from the publisher, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble gets really offended if you only promote Amazon, and they'll pull your book. So I don't know that from personal experience. I just know they do that. So, but we always tell people, go to your local Catholic bookstore and support them. And kind of, it's kind of like the circle of Catholic merchandising, right? Like just the ongoing support of all of these things. So, but it's so nice to have like a bookstore. I remember I wanted a book, and I'm like, oh, I could order it from Amazon, and I'll get it in 2 to 3 days. But then I thought to myself, well, why don't I just stop at the Cathedral Book and Gifts? I can get it today. So it's a wonderful resource to have.
It is, and if you get a chance to actually go to Cathedral Book and Gift after we have our fundraiser here sometime, make sure you pop in there too, because like Father was saying, there's statues and pictures and stuffed animals and puzzles, and it's a beautiful, amazing resource for us as Catholics, because sometimes it can be hard to find faith-based, high-quality gifts for all ages.
Yeah, and there are other places here in Toronto you might want to check out too. You know, we're not just exclusive to the Cathedral Book of Gifts. Of course, Holly Montour has Staff of Life, so that's they have Christian stuff there, so that's a place to go. And then there are like 2 different bookstores I think in town or something. One that likes featuring local authors that I haven't made an appearance at yet that I should. And then maybe, Books and Beans or Beans and Books. I don't know. So I know there's even more local places where you can go to get a book, not just spiritual, but, that's just shop local is always good.
Good pitch, Father. All right. Well, it was wonderful to be back and talk about Father's amazing books. Please make sure to come in this weekend, support our fundraiser, get your book signed. Maybe Father can even do some blessing of
religious
things,
articles.
perhaps.
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
That would be wonderful. So everybody have a great week. Stay healthy. Father, continue to get healthy.
Yes, take your vitamins.
Yes, and we will see you all later. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.